Hi, this is Mr. Knowles, and this video focuses on a worksheet that you'll be getting in class. It's titled Fraction Multiplication Story Problems. So I believe it's 5 problems. The front side looks like uh, this section here on the left. And then I also copied a journal page grid, which is basically graph paper, on the back side. And I'll be using graph paper to show the visual representation of what you're doing, because one of the important parts of this worksheet is actually showing your work visually as a picture. Let's see, it says right here labeled sketch in your journal. So it says build the situation of your geoboard, then make a labeled sketch of it in your journal. So I'm going to be drawing that to explain what's going on. That's really important to get that concept. So let's get started. Number 1. When Max got home from school yesterday, he went into the kitchen to get a snack. There was 3/4 of a pan of brownies on the counter. Max ate 1/4 of what was left. What part of the pan of the brownies did Mark eat? Alright. So there's Max and there's Mark. I think there might be a typo here. I think it's supposed to be Max all the way through, but maybe not. So let's see. There was 3/4 of a pan of brownies. Looking at this piece right here on the counter. 3/4. Okay. So I'm thinking fourths. That's 4/4 right there. But I just want 3/4. So 3/4 would just be that right there. 3 of the 4. Alright. Max ate 1/4 of what was left. So what I'm going to do now visually is go the opposite direction. And I'm thinking of fourths again. So go all the way across, 4 squares, that's fourths. And I just want 1/4. Right there. I'm going to label that. So you have to imagine that the original pan of brownies look like this. And 3/4 of it was left when he came in. So I showed that on the side, 3/4. And what I'm going to do is just extend that over to represent 3/4. So when he came in, this wasn't there anymore. That top section is what was left. And Max decided to eat 1/4. I'll use red. So now I'll just bring this down. And Max ate this section here. He ate this piece. What part of the pan of brownies did this, I believe, should be Max eat? Okay, you have to think of the whole, what he ate compared to the whole entire pan. So he ate 3 out of how much of the entire thing, including the missing piece from the original, when it was originally a full pan of brownies, I guess I could say. Well, he ate 3 squares, he ate 3, and the whole thing, see, it's 4 by 4. There was originally 16 pieces, so he ate 3/16. So the answer is 3/16. And I hope you can see that. Let's go on to the next one. Brittany's mom had a big garden last summer. She planted corn and tomatoes in half of the garden. She planted lettuce in 1/4 of the garden. She used half of the last 1/4 of the garden for flowers. How much of the garden did she use for flowers? Okay, this is going to be tricky. Let's see, let's look at the first part. She planted corn and tomatoes in half. She planted corn and tomatoes in half the garden. Well, I have two parts there, and I look at half. That would be 1/2 there. She planted lettuce in 1/4. Alright, so now I'm going to go the other way and think of it as 4 whole pieces. And now I'm looking at 1/4, so 1/4 of the garden was lettuce. Okay, so she used half of the last fourth of the garden for flowers. How much of the garden did she use for flowers? I don't think my picture does a really good job with what I'm trying to do. So let's change this up. I think I'm gonna do it like this. And I think I'm gonna do this in this half. This is gonna be corn and tomatoes from the beginning. I think this fourth is going to be my lettuce. Okay. And then she used half of the last fourth. Alright, this is where it gets tricky. In here, she used half of that section for the last fourth. So she only used half of it, not the whole thing. She used this little piece for flowers. Well, that's kind of hard to visualize, but if I could take this and build it to fill the entire garden, how many pieces would there be in all? Well, this little piece is half of the fourth, so it's 1/8 of see if I can find my magic pen. It's going to be 1/8 of this area right there. So of the whole thing, it's going to be 1/16, I believe. So still, my picture's not a great picture. I might want to change it up. So maybe I go a little bigger with my choices here. And maybe I do this. Now half of this is corn and lettuce. 1/4 is, not corns and lettuce, corn and tomatoes. This is lettuce. And now my flowers section is going to be in this region here, this 1/4 of open space, but it's only going to be half of the fourth. So my flowers are right here. My flowers take up how much room? Well, they take up 2 squares. 2 out of how much? 2 out of the entire thing. That's 16. Or they take up 1/8. Number 3. Don Terrell was getting a new rug for his bedroom. His dad said that the rug would cover 3/4 of half the floor. How much of the floor did the rug cover? All right. You have to remember that half, it's in word form, but it looks like this. So we're going to think of, I'm going to look at the 3/4 first. 3 out of 4. So I have something visually in fourths. So there's 4 squares, but I only have 3 of the 4. It's my blue area here. This is representing 3 of the 4, 3/4. And now I have half. So half means there's 2 parts. So there's my rectangle. And I have 1 of the half. So this is my answer right here. 1/2 and 3/4. The rug's covering that much of it. So let's see, that's 3 out of how many? 8ths. So my answer is 3/8. Number 4. Maria had 7/8 of a box of candy left from her birthday. She gave half of what she had left to her little sister. How much of the box of candy did her little sister get? Alright. 7/8 of a box of candy. She gave her half. Keyword half. Half. So I need something in 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 pieces. And we have 7 of the 8. 7 7/8. And the other thing is half. So I go 2 because there's 2 parts that make the whole. And now I'm going to close my rectangle. So it's 8 by 2. It's made of 16 parts. And I have 1/2 of that. Do that in green. It's going to be a little tight in here, people. 1/2. It's 1/2. So, if I bring this down, and bring this across, my answer is right here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 out of how many total? The whole thing? It was out of 16, 7/16. So how much of the box of candy did a little sister get? So that question is referring to how much did she get from the entire box? She got 7/16 of it. 7/16. I think we have time for one more. No, this video is getting a little long, but I think we can fit it in. Marco had 3/8 of a pizza left from dinner the night before. He gave half of what he had left to his friend. How much of a pizza did his friend get? Okay, similar problem. Again, the word half is this as a number. We're going to do something similar to the other problem. 3/8. Think of something in eighths. It's 4. I think that's eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we need 3/8. 3/8. And the other part of this is half, so it's in two parts, and we only have one of the two parts. So looks like this. And I'll just do this. I can close my rectangle. And I can just take these here and do this. So I have 3 out of how many that make up the whole rectangle? 3 squares out of, I believe it's 16, yep. 3/16. So his friend got 3/16 of the pizza. I hope this has been helpful to you. I know it's a little longer than most of my videos, but it's all the problems too. So good luck, and if you still need help with this, please ask. Thanks.